All right, welcome into Power Four picks over here on Better in Green. We're in week 13 of college football. 2 more weeks of the regular season. Really interested week this week. Not a great batch of games, but there's always that interesting tidbit when we have rivalry week soon approaching. So we have a lot of look ahead spots, a lot of games that teams are overlooking, just preparing for that rivalry game, and we have the playoffs really counting down to the end of the season where every game has huge playoff implications. So a lot of really weird games and games that usually wouldn't mean anything, but now are either getting overlooked or meaning a lot more. So it's a very interesting time in college football right now. Super excited. We won't talk about our records last week. I'll be honest, they were not fantastic. So we're just going to keep going into it. But Ethan, welcome. How are you feeling heading into the final 2 weeks of the football season?
Yeah, not great about the games we're going to talk about. Weird slate, like you said. This is, typically where the SEC chooses to take another bye week. So, hope Alabama can cover 50.5 against Eastern Illinois. But yeah, just yeah, kind of some weird games. I don't know, man. I've just said it a lot. Like, I'm kind of just floating in college football. I'm up like 5 units, I think, on the year, which is okay, but nothing great. It's better than being down. I was down a lot last year. I don't know. I'm just kind of waiting for like that really good week to hit, and it just hasn't. I just went 1-2 last week, kind of off the grid, was struggling to get apps to work, so was very limited with what I bet. But yeah, as far as this week, I mean, I think the games that I'll probably be betting will be ones off the board that we aren't talking about today. Good chance we'll be going live on Saturday, so if we do that, we'll dive into some of those lesser viewing games and kind of the games we'll attack maybe a little more. But looking forward to talking football as always. I mean, it's college football. I can't wish for it to be gone because once
Right.
it is, you're constantly wishing for it to come back.
Yeah, it goes by quick. We do a bowl season approaching, which is always a fun time for me and Ethan over here. Yeah, speaking of the SEC, I was looking for fading Texas A&M. Really big emotional comeback. They have Texas on deck. They're playing Samford, and the line you can't even find it. So that means it's going to be like 80.5 or something. So yeah, just basically a third buy for the SEC. Absolute BS. But let's get into the games real quick. I don't think these are time order. I just have them in the order of rank. So we'll start off with our two ranked games. An SEC matchup here, number 22, Missouri at number 8, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 7.5 point home favorite. Over under is 41.5. What do you like in this SEC game?
Yeah, I typically wouldn't like Oklahoma in the spot off the big kind of emotional win there in Tuscaloosa, right off of another big win in Knoxville against Tennessee. Of course, they had a bye after that. But I do kind of lean Oklahoma minus the points here. I think the 7.5 line is fairly telling. And Missouri, I mean, their season was pretty much shattered when they lost to Texas A&M. They did come out, get a nice bounce back win against Mississippi State at home, but now they hit the road. Haven't been great on the road this year. They lost to Vanderbilt straight up. They did beat Auburn in overtime, which kind of a fluky win there. And that's been it. They've been at home every single game other than those two, so no regulation home wins. Yeah, I don't know. Missouri's season is, basically decided at this point, just not really sure what they're necessarily playing for. Oklahoma has a chance to run the table at home, beat Missouri, then beat LSU, finish 10-2, and kind of see where that takes them. Um, so typically, I'd be looking for a letdown spot from Oklahoma. I don't think it's going to come against Missouri here, so I have a slight lean on Oklahoma minus the 7.5.
Yeah, this is a tricky one for me. I usually would like to fade Oklahoma here off of that really big emotional win, but I agree with you. I don't really think Missouri has a whole lot to play for. I guess play spoiler. I guess they're not going to get in with a win or a loss here against Oklahoma is not going to get them into the playoff. But whatever happens with this game, if Oklahoma, well, especially if Oklahoma wins, if Oklahoma wins, I'm going to be smacking LSU next week. If Oklahoma loses, then I don't really care. But um, God, for the sake of the graphic, I'm just gonna hope that the hangover is gonna be there for Oklahoma. I know they have all their focus on their last ranked game of the season. I know LSU is going to be a lot bigger, but LSU fell off a cliff. So I'm just gonna trust that they're a little hungover still. So give me Mizzou on the plus 7.5. I don't love that line. I agree with you that 7.5 is usually super telling, but I don't know. I think Oklahoma might be a little too high and mighty on themselves right now. But yeah, really tricky game. As you can see, a lot of these that we're about to talk about are. So we apologize for the lack of clarity in some of these games. Let's go to this is our technically, well, not technically, there's been a lot of playoff games. This is, in my opinion, like our first like dose of the postseason this year in college football. We have number 15 USC at number 7 Oregon. The winner, in my opinion, if they win out, is going to get into the college football playoff. And I know it's kind of crazy when you think about USC, but USC is going to have 2 losses if they win out. They're going to get above Oregon. Then it's basically whatever happens in the ACC is a crapshoot, and then a couple Big 12. But I think the winner gets in, and I think if Oregon loses this, they might get knocked out. They really don't have any impressive wins. I think their best win is Iowa, Penn State. I mean, it's not great for Oregon, and a loss here I think would be bad, but really big spread. I was kind of thinking the spread was going to be like 5.5, 6.5. So because it's so big, I'm going to trust that Oregon figures it out. So I'm going to take the Ducks on the spread here. -9.5 is crazy, but I'm going to do it and unfortunately cancel out USC's playoff hopes. How about you?
Yeah, I'm there with you. I like Oregon in the spot, and I've heard multiple people been saying that about Oregon, which I guess I understand, but like I don't know, because people keep saying like they don't have that big win, but you can only play who's in front of you. They beat Penn State when Penn State was third in the country in Penn State. Like that was a huge win at the time. They beat Iowa on the road. Iowa, keeps finding ways to win games or play close like they did against Oregon. Oregon's only given up 30 points one time. It's their lone loss to Indiana. Other than that, they've held every team other than Penn State to below 20 points. So I don't think the resume is as bad as really what it's being made out to be. In my opinion, means nothing. So, it's guys smarter than me are saying that. It doesn't fully align with me, but I think they're going to get this win. USC, they've struggled a little bit on the road, lost to Notre Dame straight up, lost to Illinois straight up, only beat Nebraska by 4 points on the road, even Purdue 33-17. I mean, one with enough separation, but it's a very bad Purdue team. So I know they don't have to travel like, a lot of their travel spots in the Big Ten are very advantageous for the home team. Oregon, obviously not that far of a travel spot, but I like Oregon. I think they're better, way better defensively than USC. So I think they can hold that offense down. They're a good running team that can pass the ball as well. They're a great dual threat team. Going to make it tough for USC, I think, to adjust. So I do think Oregon's ultimately just quite a bit better of a team. I think their defense once again holds them below 20 points like they have almost all season, or at least under 30. And I think their offense will do enough to win and cover by 10 points. So I like Oregon as well.
All right, we're on page. Just one thing I'd like to mention there. I know we're talking about if Oregon loses, they might not be in it. It's just crazy because it's all about when your losses are. So, like Notre Dame kind of did it right, losing their first 2 games and then win every single other game of the season and just slowly rank back up. If you have one bad loss or one loss at the end of the year, like you could just get pushed right outside that top 15, and it
Yeah.
sucks. And I understand. And if it's a situation between Oregon and Notre Dame did beat USC. So I guess they maybe would have that tiebreaker over that. But anyways, we could talk about playoff scenarios for hours here. I've been doing it in my head all day. SEC or ACC matchup. I have no idea for this one. So I apologize. I'm going to send it to you first. It's trash. We have Pittsburgh at number 16, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech 2.5, over under 61.5. I have absolutely no freaking idea. I'll give you my quick thought before I'll send it to you for your prediction. Georgia Tech has Georgia on deck. I don't know if that plays a factor. It's not an SEC game, but maybe they're looking ahead, and I can't imagine them looking ahead. Pitt has a gauntlet. They have Georgia Tech and then Miami. They have to win both of those to make it to the ACC championship game. So that's a scenario, and I just don't really know what to give or take about it. Like, what happens if Georgia Tech loses and then beats Georgia? Like, I don't know. So doesn't help you much. What are you thinking in this tricky ACC game?
I'm kind of having the same conundrum with Georgia, and I've come to the conclusion I don't think they're going to look ahead to that game because in ACC play it just doesn't matter. They played them tight last year. Georgia probably boat races them in that game this year, but I like Pitt plus the points here. What really tipped me off is the guy that I've mentioned many times talks about the power ratings. He actually has Pitt higher power rated than Georgia Tech. Not by a ton, but now you're catching points with Pitt when, you know, according to those power ratings, they would be favored on a neutral field. Give Georgia Tech 2.5 points for home field. So I'm going to take Pitt. I also think it's just very enticing to look at Georgia Tech. Oh, you can grab them on the money line at a fair price. You can take them, under a field goal. Public's going to be all over Georgia Tech, I think, in this spot here. So I think the line is telling on Pitt. That, me hearing about where a lot of the sharp guys have Pitt in their power ratings compared to Georgia Tech kind of pushed me over the edge. So, yeah, I'll take a stab at Pitt. But it's definitely a funky game. It's a funky ACC. I'm going to be honest with you. I've given up on trying to decide who's going to make the conference game, who's going to win the conference game, if any team is going to make the playoff from the ACC. I've given completely up on it. They can figure that out. Just let me know when it's all said and done. So yeah, I'll lean Pitt here, but it's a game by game basis. I'm not playing long ball at all in the ACC anymore.
I think I just had an epiphany here. I think we take Miami right now to make it to the college football playoff. Because I like Pitt. That's where I was leaning. I do like Pitt, so put me down for Pitt. But here's the scenario: Pitt beats Georgia Tech, gives Georgia Tech their second ACC loss. Pitt loses to Miami next week.
Yep.
They have 2 losses. That means it's going to be Miami will get into the conference championship game. They'll probably play Virginia unless Virginia loses. Then it's just an absolute. Everyone has 2 losses. So it's be Miami, Virginia, ACC championship game. Obviously, Miami's going to win that one. Boom, Miami in the playoffs. That's the epiphany.
What's that price?
I remember last week Miami was like plus 500, and it really helps that Duke got knocked out last week.
Right.
So they're probably going to be down quite a bit after that.
All right, I'll do a quick shopping around here.
But I think that's the epiphany I had. So, yeah, I'm going to take Pitt. Again, Pitt just got blown out by Notre Dame. Georgia Tech just struggled against Boston College. So, again, 2 teams off a bad win and a bad loss. So, it's tough to get this line. But I don't know. I'm going to trust a fishy line with Pitt here and get them to win that. You see in the odds?
Plus 300 for Miami.
Oof.
And yeah, ahead of them is Virginia plus 240, Georgia Tech plus 170. But I mean, if it plays out the way you just said,
Georgia Tech loses,
bada boom.
It still could be potentially Georgia Tech Miami if Virginia loses. I don't know how the tiebreakers work, but Virginia shouldn't even be in the conversation. They already have 2 ACC losses, but it only counts as 1. So, anyways, sorry, we don't want to keep you guys too much longer here. SEC matchup, we have number 20 Tennessee at Florida. Tennessee is a 4-point favorite on the road, over under 57.5. I kind of love Florida here. Florida's playing for absolutely nothing. They're 2-5 in conference play, but so is Tennessee. Tennessee's not playing for much either. Tennessee does have a huge, which has become a much bigger rivalry, in-state rivalry against Vandy next week, which I'm very excited to see that rivalry be renewed because it's been asked for so long. But I think Tennessee's thinking, they can't get in. So I don't even know what they're thinking, but Florida's ass. They don't have a coach. They're not great. I know it's at Florida, but that spread's moving down in Florida's favor. I think Tennessee cares much more about that in-state rivalry game next week. And I'm just going to tell you straight up on us, if this goes according to plan, where I think Florida actually wins outright, Tennessee upset Vandy, knock off their college football playoff chances and hopes. Just a great thing to do our rival team. Everyone wants to do that to the rival. So that's my vision for this game. So give me Florida plus 4, but I think Florida wins it outright.
I'm right there with you. This just screams Florida. This is what every Florida spread has been all year. I feel like it's just so just a typical Florida game. But I like Florida. I think the spot sets up nicely for them. They are off 3 straight losses. Their season's over. They're not going to make a bowl game, which they're honestly probably excited about. Because obviously coming into the year, they had way greater expectations than making some BS bowl. But Florida at home, they've played well. They had a close loss to Georgia, which honestly probably should have won that game. I thought there were 2 massive calls that went against them that they ultimately lose by 4. Other than that, they beat Mississippi State. It's not a good win, but they did get a win. They beat Texas at home. They do have the loss to South Florida way earlier in the season, but kind of like what you said, those losses early season, it's really hard to kind of quantify that this late in the year. So Florida's played better at home. And Tennessee, I mean, who have they beaten? their best win is Steve Angeli in Syracuse back in week 1. Like, this team hasn't Arkansas, like Kentucky. I don't know. They haven't
It
beaten
took
anybody.
Georgia to overtime.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's probably their best result there. So yeah, they lose to Georgia, they lose to Bama, they lose to Oklahoma. I mean, people are going to look at Florida as a 3-win team, but they're better than a 3-win team. They haven't had things go their way, and obviously losing early kind of sets them up for a tough season. But Florida's better than the record. Tennessee in a very similar boat with Missouri, not playing for anything, and they don't even get a chance to play spoiler against Florida. They'll probably try to do that next week against Vanderbilt they're basically out of it anyway too. But yeah, I like Florida here. I think it sets up nicely for them.
Beautiful. Give me Florida. Our final game of the evening is the late slate. We have number 11 BYU at Cincy. BYU 2.5-point favorite on the road, over under 55.5. This gosh darn Big 12, man. Big 12 and ACC are really hard on some of these games. I'll send it to you. Where are you thinking? This is a massive Big 12 game, by the way. Massive Big 12. I think BYU is still alive, even if they lose, because they have the tiebreaker over Utah. But then Cincy gets in with a tie. I don't know. I don't know how these conference championship games are going to work. That's, again, someone outside of my pay grade gets to decide that. But huge game in the Big 12. Really excited for this one. What do you think?
Yeah, we veered off a little bit, talked a lot of playoff talk, so I'll keep this one really short. Could literally flip a coin. I have no idea. It's a game that we have to talk about, but I've dug through this game. I don't know. I'm going to lean Cincinnati because I think the line is weird. We've been against BYU for the better part of the year, and I still think BYU is just an overrated team. So line value probably with Cincinnati, home team here, still playing for something. Give me Cincinnati, but it's a true coin flip. There's almost certainly no way I'll be betting that game.
Yeah, I'll keep this one short because we have rambled. I can get on rambling sprints. I apologize. But yeah, BYU, I was wrong on them. Did not bet them, but I was wrong on them last week. I kind of like TCU. BYU just destroyed them. I think it was like 44-13. Since he's now lost 2 straight games. They just lost to Arizona last week. Before that, another not so great team. So Cincinnati's kind of fallen off, and you still get a 2.5-point spread. I know BYU is a favored team, so that's they're technically 5.5, something like that on neutral field. But yeah, just too fishy of a line for a BYU dominating a very good TCU team, and Cincy losing 3 or 2 straight. So I like Cincy. I think Cincy. And if you're going to take a 2.5, you might as well hope they win it. So I hope Cincy wins it. I'll say Cincy wins it before the graphic. I'll give the 2.5. But do you have anything else you want to add on for the last week before we get into rivalry week in college football?
No, yeah, I guess favorite play here that we talked about today would probably be Florida, or it escapes me now, the third game that we talked, third game. Those are my 2 favorites for anyone that's wondering, but yeah, Pitt. Yep. So those are the 2 favorites, the 2 that I'll be considering betting. Other than that, just some leans. Hopefully the records are a little better. I don't even know how we did last week. I know, like you said, it wasn't good, but looking forward to another week of college football.
Yeah, it's going to get crazier as we approach the final week. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, if you do want more content, check out Better in Green. We don't just cover college football. We cover NFL, NBA, college basketball, NHL, MMA, UFC, soccer as well. So we cover it all over here at Better in Green. Please like, subscribe, and share. Really helps us continue to do this. As you can see, I'm still struggling from a hangover that had 5 days ago. So I apologize for not being able to talk. But I appreciate you guys. Good luck this week in your bets, and we'll see you on the next episode. Later, guys.
Welcome to Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast. Better in Green.